Okay, everybody. I need sound on this one. Welcome to a very, very important panel discussion. And Ukrainska Huben, we are 12 organizations who stand together. We arrange 50 panel talks during this week, 160 unique speakers, 120 organizations are here. We are fortunate to get a lot of attention from both the public sector and from different organizations. Don't miss the exhibition afterwards. It's a very strong exhibition honoring the soldiers at the front. And Alexander, when you contacted us and you said you want to speak about the effect of the sound, I immediately felt this is really important because we just don't work with the short-term things, but also the long-term effects. And I have a real story on this. My mom and her sisters, they went into the basement one time out of 100 when they heard the flight alarm in Bergen in Norway during the Second World War. And the house, shortly later, the house was blown away. They survived because they were in the basement. 70 children were killed in the school that they were supposed to be in that day. More than 120 people were killed. And it was a British who bombed when they was trying to hit the submarines. But my story is really this. My aunt, who's 84 now, she told me a few years ago that the sound of these airplanes that come in, they scared her so much. And only when her children were adults, her anxiety disappeared from her hearing the airplanes. Every time she heard an airplane, up to the age of the children grown up, she got anxiety from this. So supporting Ukraine is not just only about the short-term things. We need to stand there for long-term. And these scars that these sounds do can be there, and we need to work with them. So Alexander, please take it away.
Thank you so much, and hello to all of you on the live stream as well. So, of course, this is a topic that came to me from traveling across Ukraine and seeing how sound affects children and youth. For example, in Kharkiv, when the sirens come on, I got told and saw myself that half the children, they keep playing, but half the children run to the playground and hide in slides and whatever. And just as previously mentioned, my grandma was affected by propeller sounds from the Second World War. She grew up in Finland. Her sister was a refugee in Denmark. But even when she was 80, propeller sounds still affected her. She would tense up, she would freeze. And that begged to question, even though young, like youth and children might not get directly impacted by drones and so on, it can create long-lasting effects which should be talked about. And as said, looking up topics, this isn't really talked about, but I think this is really needs to be raised awareness of, and that's why I have an amazing panel of speakers here who have personal experience with this. So we hope we can raise awareness and also have a good discussion regarding it. So to begin, we're going to do a brief round of introductions. So if each panel talker could briefly introduce yourself, and we could head into the questions. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Andriy Melnik. I work as a translator with Operation 8, and I'm a former war veteran. I retired in 2025 due to an injury by an FPV drone. I'd like to share a little bit of general perspective and my own personal experience to get you familiar with those effects, like in general and from personal perspective.
Hi, my name is Ivona Olofsson. I'm a trauma therapist, co-creator of a project working with Ukrainian refugee children from orphanages coming to Poland 2023. And I go to Ukraine back and forward and work with trauma. I have international experience with different conflicts. And as well, I grew up in post-war Poland, and I'm traumatized even after the war. So it's a very complex question, and I would like to contribute with my experience of war so we can create a future for our children and not just let them inherit everything.
Hi, my name is, can you hear, right? My name is Olga Alstrom. I'm Ukrainian myself. Here on this panel, I am because I'm a war volunteer, every year going to the front line, working there, having my own experience. But then here in Sweden, I work with Ukrainian kids in a school. So, and I met the first wave, basically, the March of 2022. So I have seen how kids came, I see how they are now, and I see how affected they were. So here, just to share that experience.
Hi, my name is Timur. I'm 16 years old. Timur Vasilishin. I'm 16 years old. I'm a singer. Every Monday I'm singing at Normal Story for support of Ukraine. And I come to Sweden when the war is started, is in 24th February. And I very support Ukraine, and I'm singing for Ukraine, and yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Hevchuk, and I'm chairperson for organization Refugee Hope, and we help Ukrainian refugees, different older, different ages in Sweden. But I also worked as teacher for Ukrainian refugees in 2022 in Nikvansh commune, so I can share also this experience.
Thank you so much for those introductions. And to begin with the first question, as I said, when the war is over, when we have peace, the long-lasting effects will still remain. But just during the ongoing war, Olga, you who work with Ukrainians coming to Sweden, coming from the war zones and coming from displaced families and also Ukraine, is there anything you see taking these Ukrainians in Sweden that still affects them? Is it fireworks? Is it sounds that you notice?
Basically, any sharp sound quite affected kids because every sharp sound tells you before your body, before your brain comes, your body reacts. And it tells the danger is here, the danger is, my life is in a danger. So it can be anything. It can be brandalarm. Fire alarm. It can be fire alarm. It can be when the other kids in the round, they play the game. If kids leaves in Linköping commune, where is sub, that is really, it can be like re-traumatic for them. Re-traumatization that comes quite high. Also, one of the things that I want to mention that I understand about the drones that police use, but some kids who came from the areas where is the danger comes, they learn to scan the sky. They learn to look for the danger from the sky. That is super effective also.
Thank you for that. And Christina, you're from Refugee Hope as well. When it comes to Ukrainian children joining Swedish schools and so on, is there any experience you have with just coming from a war zone into that sphere?
Yes, I remember then we came to Sweden in 2022. It was spring 2022, and every spring you have like Frederick alarm. How is it called, right?
Yes, Fredrik.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't know about that. We didn't get any information. And then when we heard this signal, my family, because I also have two younger children and sisters, and we live together then. And also another children I worked with were scared about this signal, what happened like. But also like simple stuffs in Swedish schools. I worked with one girl from Kharkiv, and she experienced this traumatized traumatized experience from Ukraine when she went through Kiev. This bridge in Kiev was Sander. destroyed just behind their train. So I mean, it's this experience. And then when she was in Swedish schools, and some children started to throw like petards, like small these stuffs, she was very scared and she started to cry. But even yesterday, when here in Almedalen, it was Gripen show, or volunteers from Operation Aid who came directly from Ukraine, they were really scary and they started to cry because, I mean, if it's, yeah, it's traumatized sounds, of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And for Timur, your question as well. You came here at the start of the full-scale war from Kiev. And coming from that landscape into Sweden, is there something you still feel affected by today, even though it was so many years ago this occurred?
When I think about Ukraine, I remember many different sounds. Before the war, there were many good sounds. Children and teenagers playing outside, people talking in the street, music during holidays and fireworks. But after the war, everything is changed. The sound that I remember most is not even the siren. What I remember most clearly is the morning of day of February 24th, 2022, when we woke up because of the sound of explosions. At that moment, I did not understand what was happening. I heard like loudly sound of explosions, siren, and some strange sound in the sky. Today, I know it was some missiles or other military equipment. But back then, I was just a child who woke up of terrifying noise. Also, I want to tell, in my school in Kiev, even before the full-scale invasion, we showed the shelter and what to do in case of danger. Ukraine was prepared as much as possible, but the truth is it is impossible to prepare for a war. You can prepare a basement, you can prepare instruction, but you cannot prepare a child to hear sound of explosions outside their home. Also, I want to tell you that later we moved to our friend's house, and we stayed in their basement for about 3 weeks. I remember the sound of explosions, the siren, and constant phone calls from relatives and friends. And also remember the feeling of fear and uncertainty. And also I remember my dog Lucky. She was very, very small, and she was about 2 kilograms. She was very terrified of sirens and explosions of this sound, and she could feel our fear. And in one day, her heart could not take it anymore, and she almost died in our arms. For me, it was the moment when the war became truly real. I understood if war could take a small and helpless dog, it could take anyone. And when the fighting came closer to Kiev, and we heard that Russian forces came closer to our area, we understand that we must move very, very quickly. Decision was made very quickly. First evening, we understand that we could not stay here any longer, and in the next day we left. And also, I want to tell that some sounds still cause fear and tension. For example, helicopters, siren, or airports. And I want to tell that. So even if few seconds are enough to, even some seconds for this sound, even some seconds, this sound are enough to these memories come back.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Timir. And before we move into what actionable steps can be done to try to help people who have these different reactions, Andriy, you are together with Operation Aid in Ukraine. You are a former service member, but also you have operations in Mykolaiv, Odessa, and also the Kherson region and Kherson itself. Dealing with children that are currently in Mykolaiv and Kherson, compared to the ones who come to Sweden to this silence and its fireworks and so on, the real sounds is still on a day-to-day basis in these regions. How do you work with children daily getting affected and they can't really escape it? Even though they're not impacted by the strikes, they're impacted by the sounds. How do you work with that?
First of all, I know about drone attacks on itself because I have experienced it myself. Because I was hit by a drone, and I know, like nobody else, how is that to be affected by these kind of traumas. So if you are trying to work with young people, if you're trying to work with children, if they are not directly under attack or direct damage, they still feel the effects of war consequences on themselves. They may have problems with sleep, because sleep deprivation was considered to be one of the most severe torture techniques even back then, and it's still a thing. So even if children are not on constant fire, they're not under constant damage, they still feel the sleep deprivation. Some of them feel anxious. When they hear sounds, they remind them of drones, such as motorcycle or fireworks or some sharp sounds. But for me personally, the Gripen was not that scary as sound of a drone over the top of you. Because the Gripen might go somewhere and it may not hit you directly, but the drone is hitting directly for you. He's looking specifically for a person, so that's kind of a modern time artillery that hits like the smallest unit. So if we are trying to work with children, we need to have understanding. We need to be tolerant, and we need to create space environments so they can feel safe, so they do not enclose this trauma into themselves, because we do not want them to have those wounds. They have them as burden throughout their lives.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And going into what we can do to rehabilitate this, as said, this is a topic that haven't even been defined or talked about. From the First World War, we have thousands that have been affected by this, even millions. Together, that I know in one topic they shared, for example, the one who survived the London Blitz and the strikes, what they had with artillery strikes, and together with the people who survived the Sarajevo siege. This is something that's very long-lasting, but it's never talked about, so it's never rehabilitated. These individuals go out in society even after peacetime, but they are still permanently affected by this. So my question to you is, how can you actually work with rehabilitating people to make them less affected by these sounds in peacetime and even in rehabilitation efforts?
We have amazing methods to work with trauma. And what we need to do is not to prepare children for the environment. We can't change the environment. We can't stop Gripen from flying. We can't stop motorcycles or chainsaws. They will also, and mosquitoes, believe it or not. Even the sound of mosquito could be connected to the drone because it's a hunting subject. And we are born with this fear of flying subjects to begin with. And then we have this predator. Drones are absolutely the worst because they are waiting for you. They are looking for you. They are all over the place, possibly. It's the interpretation of a child. No space is safe. So we need to work with the nervous system and with the body, techniques that are somatic techniques, working with the body. We can't talk about it because talking re-traumatize. We can't be silent about it because the big silence will traumatize as well. We know how it is when we don't want to talk about trauma, when we ask our Mom and Dad, what do you feel? And they don't share because they don't want to affect the child. So we have two choices. We need to stop the silence, and we need to stop the talking. We need to work with some techniques, calming techniques, and then we can talk about trauma at the same time as the body experience calm. And there are so fabulous techniques. I know they work. I do it every day and all over the world. We have techniques like evening, tapping, some hypnosis as well, calming down the body, and then the body feels, the person feels it's safe to talk about it, and then we can talk if we want. But it's like an iceberg. Our conscious mind is just a piece of it, and then the subconscious mind remembers a lot. It will connect the drone or the missile sound with the smell of the place, the weather, the color. So maybe if we hear a drone here now, and I see Timur's red-colored hat, I may be traumatized of a tomato because it's red. So the tension in the body will be there in thousands ways, not only the sound, but the sound will be a trigger. And it brings with it everything that is actual on this moment of the first trauma. We usually go to the first trauma because your smoke detector in the brain registers, scans everything that is on the place, and you will be triggered by everything, like sunny weather, red tomato, strawberries. So it's very, very complex subject, and we need to work with the sound because it's so obvious everywhere. And I myself got not maybe traumatized, but reminded by the first air raid alarm in Kharkiv when I was standing there paralyzed because I remembered something that wasn't mine. And we can talk about epigenetics as well. We can inherit those sounds. So the future generation will bring some sound that is not theirs. So we need absolutely, I emphasize this, work with trauma. It will not heal because war and trauma are the best friends. They never end. They just build a nest in human body and stays there. We can be traumatized or re-traumatized 50 years later in a safe environment. So it needs to end, and we need to bring techniques from integrative experience as well. Complementary experiences, we have fabulous techniques. I really promise you, we can fix it.
Thank you so
I can talk about it in hours. I have hundreds or thousands of good results.
Yeah, that's really amazing to hear that there's progress towards resolving the issue as well, because wars and conflicts in human nature unfortunately will keep going, and that's why it's also important to rehabilitate the people that do unfortunately suffer from these conflicts. But asking to all of you, apart from you yourself, is there any methods you use now without knowing this research that you feel is working with these individuals, for example, coming to Sweden, that you feel is working right now? This for Christina, Timur.
I actually didn't heard about this method, and I'm not sure if it was used for some Ukrainian refugee children here in Sweden. Maybe you have this experience, but I didn't heard about that. Any children which I met here in Sweden had this word.
You mean those techniques I mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure because in Sweden, psychologists usually choose those methods of talking about.
When I working with children, I also like used to. It's better like to talk about that and to be quiet because then it's like standing with you for a long time. So it's better like to talk that you're scary and to explain, like for example, what it was yesterday. It was like this.
Yes. It's absolutely important when they feel like They want to talk. Oftentimes they don't want to talk because it's too hurtful. That's why we need to use those easy methods or tools, we call it. Kids, they can learn, they bring them home, then can use it to regulate stress. And then it's okay to talk about it because it's not painful. And I can show you if you like. It's super easy. You can try yourself. It's a method body recognize. It's a hug and a somatic technique because when trauma occurs, we are always alone. No one is there to help. So we miss this hug. When someone comes and hugs you, it feels better. So you can try. You can do this method we call havening, like striking your arms, and it will bring calm. When you feel stress, fear, or some worry in your body, when you apply this technique, it becomes calmer, and then you can focus better, and you can, by feeling this calm, the body will think it's okay to talk about it because I will not get re-traumatized. So you can talk, but at the same time, it's crucial to have this calming method. There are many methods, like a quick fix we have. If you see an angry child or you are angry yourself, put your palms up and you can't be angry any longer. Those are quick methods that body has from the beginning. And we need to introduce them again to the modern society. So we are using those tools, they are many, and they just bring calm. And when you learn your nervous system, it's possible to have calmness, then the body will choose calmness. We don't want to torture ourselves, right? But we need to learn the nervous system, that calm is possible. And if you ask me, the only way to make a sustainable peace is to work with trauma. It will not disappear by itself.
Thank you so much for that. And I can also say a rehabilitation center I visited in Kiev showed exactly that was what they did with displaced children. Moving on to that, Andriy, working with Operation Aid, of course, is this any of the methods you use, or what type of methods and work do you do with the children?
From a psychological perspective, this is always a complex matter. If you're trying to help these kind of children, you need to be tolerant. There is like all different levels on which you can help them. So, for example, creative activities such as we have in Active Kids. Creative activities such as sports, art, can help these children reflect and work on those emotions. They can hardly be expressed in any other way because they are so difficult to express. This is the way. This is one of the ways we are working on that. Besides, emotional support is one of the crucial pillars. The right treatment of these children, right dealing with these children stands on to. I would say if family supports a child, if family understands and tolerates the hard emotions such as anger or frustration, that can help children feel in a safe environment, so they can feel not that affected by war consequences. Apart from that, schools can also be the safe environment for those children, because I don't think anymore those schools can be a place where simply an exam or lessons they're learning from. It needs to be an environment where they can be understood, so the teachers need to feel they need to feel those children, maybe to prevent expressing the emotions in the hardest way they can be. So it's always a complex matter. And besides, we use such international platforms as Almedalin just to show what Ukrainian children are dealing with. We want to show that these activities help them cope with the distress. It allows them to carry on with their lives, even though the war is not over yet, but it's yet to be over. So we want to learn from Swedish society how to build a peaceful, ongoing existence in a post-war period. So, this doesn't have to be so traumatic for our children, and we want them to have a bright future because they are really our future ministers, workers, decision makers, and we're trying to create, those abilities, even though with the limited resources. But we need to keep going against all odds.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Does anyone want to add anything to that point? Olga?
When we talk about the children, when we talk about the school, I think what we can do will be really helpful because children, how much time do they spend in school? Quite a bit. So I think that those people who's working there with the kids, they need to be aware, they need to know how to help the child if something is happening because you cannot avoid all those sounds. But for example, that was super helpful for me to hear what you're saying because that reflects what I was learning, but I was learning myself. So I was not learning that from someone as I am as the one who is working with them, with the kids. I did it just because I know it's going to be cases. So I took a course myself, how to help. That's one thing. Another thing, when we talk about the child, we have to talk and see as the combination child and most likely the mom. Because when the child has, it's not only child, it's the mom also who came from the traumatized situation. If mom or any kind of adult that is with the child, that person needs to be stable. So working in helping child, we always have to think about who is adult, what condition he has, how can we help the adult person. In that way, we can help the child. And one of the things that I want to add, it's not really answering this question, but the picture is, sorry. I don't remember what year was it. I was in Odessa. Coming to Odessa at night on the bus from Moldova. I was just entering Ukraine. I couldn't sleep. I was just reading the news and I saw that the Crimean bridge was hit. And I was like, okay, I know we're not going to sleep for like some nights. It's going to be heavy. And it was heavy. And one of the nights I was in shelter because they were bombing downtown. So it was landing quite close to us. You could hear that. I was not traumatized, but what hit me, there was a mother with two kids, an infant and the child who was a bit like 2-year-old or something, and she was whispering a lullaby. She just grabbed the kids and she was whispering a lullaby to them. So that whispering lullaby was louder than those explosions. And I'm thinking that it's like, who is the most traumatized? The mom who will remember that? Does it help the kids? Or they will remember this lullaby as the sound of danger? I don't know, but that hit me so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. And it obviously exposes that this is a topic that everyone is affected by, but needs to talk about more. So what I would ask for now is a quick note from all of you is how can we raise awareness more about how sound affects young people, youth, and people in general, even adults, because this will go on into adult life. So if we start with you, Andrew, what can we do as a society and as a community and so on to raise awareness that people are affected by this? They're all among us. It's people from the Middle East, it's people escaping conflicts and so on, but it's not a topic we're talking about. What can we do to raise awareness and start talking about it?
So first and foremost, we probably need to use those international platforms as a raising tool of awareness, because there is so much experience, and there are so many organizations that have their own way of dealing with those kind of problems. So we share the experience, choose the most effective way to work with these kind of children. We use different kind of psychological techniques. We probably need to have a psychologist in our staff, so we can have a professional who can effectively deal with those kind of problems. And I don't know what else. Yeah, creating safe environments, working with this kind of children, creative therapy, with creative activities, and yeah, this might be the ground stones, the pillars of what we are trying to do, and the main message we want to deliver to Swedish people. So they don't have to pay Swedish lives. They don't have to pay and pour Swedish blood for those lessons Ukraine has learned from the current ongoing war, and they already paid their lives. So yeah, that probably is the most important thing we're trying to bring out.
Thank you so much. And Ivano, if you would like to continue.
What I want to say to you all is we can't be naive. Trauma will not heal by itself. We need help from each other. We need to learn from each other, because you are experts on what happens. And we have expertise with tools that are easy, comfortable. We can rewire trauma in a comfortable way and forever. We need to let people know that trauma can heal, because we don't know about it. People are not aware about it. And it's quite easy to understand that when you hear a bomb falling and you hear this explosion, you got this trauma in a second. It doesn't need to take an entire life to heal it. We can heal it quickly as well. It's what the nervous system is about. We need to invite the nervous system to the table, and comparative medicine as well. Amen to that.
What I think is that the specialists, like Yvonne. So the specialists like Yvonne, the number of those needs to raise up, because there's not so many people right now here in Sweden who can work with kids or even adults with the war trauma. Just in general, the war trauma. I know it myself. I couldn't find for myself. I just couldn't. There's not exist so much. So I think we need to build up this base who can work, and together with that, give information where you can find it. It should be in the schools. It should be in those departments that work with, well, right now we talk about Ukrainians, but Ukraine's not the only one who comes from the war areas. So we have to give the information where to come, where to find those people.
I agree with you. I think the same thing. I can't tell more. I think yeah, we need to build more company that help the children to understand this, and they will be not afraid. Yeah.
I have also. Yes, I also agree with all of you, and especially with Olga, that this psychological help have to be from day one to Ukrainian refugees who's coming to another country or in Ukraine, And for some Ukrainians, psychological health is not so prioritized like physical one. So it's also important to know, like many Ukrainians which I met here in Sweden, they're thinking, okay, I'm survived, my body is okay, but maybe their psychological health is not so much okay. So we have to work also with this one, and we also have to prioritize this. Yeah, I think I'm done.
Thank you for that. And yeah, so now we will go to the end note from each panel speaker. So if you all have a brief ending note to all of these people. But before we continue, how many of you are Ukrainians who have worked in Ukraine? How many of you are affected by sounds even in Sweden? Yes. So we can go on to the end note, and we can start with you.
I just would like to add, there is an organization, Peaceful Heart Network, working with trauma in Rwanda. It was a tough case, and they managed with those tools I was speaking about. So you can go on their website, Peaceful Heart Network, and find those techniques for free. And then we can integrate them into medicine as well, because they are tools. And I think we are there, almost there, because Ukrainians are the first country that realize we need to heal trauma. Otherwise, we were just pushing away the problem, pretending it's not there. And I see in Ukraine, wherever I travel, the hope is there. We need to treat trauma because it just don't evaporate. It will not evaporate by itself. And it's really easy to do it. So my hope is there. And when we heal it, then we have peace, because there is no need to be angry or to kill each other. Who gains, right? So have a look at those techniques, and then you know where to find me. Yeah. I can always help. And I'm an author of a book as well about Ukraine, and you can read the stories how it is to be Ukrainian in war and how we work with trauma. First aid for trauma. Easy tools in every school is my dream. Super easy.
Thank you so much for that. And Andre, is there anything you would like to add and have as a finishing note?
Yeah, I would probably say that those kind of horrendous sounds that Ukrainian children have heard, they stay in their memory for a long time, but they do not have to define their future. So with the support of organization like ours, with support of you guys, local communities and family support, and also with the in healthcare system, it can be dealt with so they can carry on with their lives and have the brightest future we want for them. This is like the main message we try to convey to you.
I think I said everything. Yeah, I think I said everything, and you also added a lot of new information and new methods, which is really useful in the future. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for also sharing your experience. And I know also interesting fact that Ukrainian children can also recognize which noises is to every, like, is it drones or is it rockets or what is this? So
what kind of rocket?
Yeah, exactly. So
incoming, outcoming.
It's a little bit like, yeah, it's also traumatized, but a little bit also like interesting fact.
And I also want to add, if you're here and you were not even thinking about it, you were not thinking about it as something that worth attention. If whatever you heard today touched you, please go and talk about it farther and farther and farther. If you have your child, if you have, I don't know, maybe your children has a Ukrainian refugee in the school, maybe you can do something now. Maybe you can push it farther, next level, 2 levels up, just to help kids and to help those who's working with the kids. Or if you see some reaction, don't judge. Just think what the child might have in his backpack and see if you can take out a lift of it. Because you're stronger. Thank you.
And also, I want to add, when the child leave their country at war, they do not, they leave the country, but they do not completely leave the war, because the memories, the feelings, fears, and experience from the war stay with them for a very, very long time. And also, it is very important for adults to not only give the children safety, but also give them help to believe in themselves and for their future, because children have talents, dreams, plans, and they want to learn, grow, and build our lives. Yeah.
Just the last word. One sentence. I had a client, 95 years old, releasing the Second World War trauma. But don't wait so long. There is hope for everyone. We are talking about children. They will become adults. Let them let the trauma go before they are adults. But there is hope, believe me, for everyone. You are never too old.
Thank you so much for all those ending notes. And as said, no person should suffer for something they did not create or can't affect. And this isn't just for Ukraine. This is for our ancestors, our grandparents who grew up in the Second World War. And that generation is slowly fading out. So we can raise awareness about this to make sure that there is the help needed when it comes any type of conflict in the future. And I can hand the ending word to Sven if you'd like.
Thank you, Alexander, for an excellent moderated talk.